Whether it's the early morning for you or a nice Australian Sunday evening, I'd like to welcome you to round 2 of the Skip Barber SoF series as we head to a very unusual venue for this sort of car as we try and recapture the joy of last season's trip to the Monza Combined Oval. It's the 24-hour Circuit de Le Mans. I like to call it Circuit de la SoF myself. Classic multi-class endurance venue, of course, not typically known for its formula racing, especially in slow ones that could up 5 minutes a lap. If there's one thing these cars do, it is draft and slipstream off each other's backs, so we sure are going to have an interesting race, the likes of which you don't get to see very often around here. Drivers are just getting their qualifying laps done now, a qualifying lap that they're only going to have one chance to do, as we've single split into this event. Not only is it a relatively unpopular week for iRacing, but it's also a relatively unpopular track, you could call it. Here's Tim Hendrickson, one of our stronger performers from last week, dropping in to run around the track, and I'll just get your car sounds for you, don't worry. We run a tight ship around here, a tight ship. I didn't wake up at 10:15 AM for this one. I stayed up the whole way. What do I do to myself? I don't know what I do to myself, quite frankly. But anything for the Skip Barber cars. I'll be honest, I am not entirely sure how these cars are going to take to this. We're going to just jump on board with Tim Hendrickson's on board. Just a second. That option, and we should be able to get some data up just about now. If everything goes right, ATVO loves to have a bit of a wobbly early time in the morning, but it looks like we're running good over here. Got some improved quality on YouTube, hopefully this time around, without completely breaking the Twitch stream. You can blame Twitch for their great limitations on top of that one. These cars do not top out particularly high on their own, but with their super low aero, they are infamous for significant slipstreaming on any track of the day. So how they're going to take this on is going to be very unusual indeed. Cars are only really going to get one chance to set a qualifying lap here, so it's going to be quite hard to compare them as they pile around the track. We've got Tim Hendrickson here with Neil Gardner, also win from last week. Ryan Chenoweth, I'm sure I've commentated on a previous week in one of these races, but I don't recall it from last week over here. Our fourth car, Anthony PM Jones, hitting up the grid as well with Tero. I'm going to get up my names practice now, actually. Tero, I'm going to go here. Hietanen's perfect. Tero Hietanen. Our fifth car, Jene Zorek in the sixth car with Joachim Osbeck, who I'm not going to get confused this time around, in the 7. We go all the way down this time to a much wider spread in the field. Our top driver, Tim Hendrickson, 8,000 I rating. We dropped into the same lobby as Danielle Medley here with 685 I rating. And you know what? I love the spirit. I love it when the fields get super wide and you see a huge variety of drivers each take to their own. As the first actual lap set was by Matt Yeomans, I think. No, it's the last sector. The overlay is acting up a little bit. Let me see if I can get the fastest lap for drivers when they actually make it. It should be pretty soon. Tim Hendrickson in some of the last corners here. Car's going to get very slippy around these parts. Unfortunately, this is about the least exciting qualifying session in iRacing history that I've had to commentate with someone. I mean, like, it's... I respect the hustle around these corners. I really do. But a lot of it was straights, and people are only going to get one attempt at it as well. These are the Porsche curbs to end the Porsche curves, I believe, and then we end up with the Ford chicane. I assume it's named that way for the Ford sign that's still there. So Tim Hendrickson about to cross the line. Will be one of the first across the line to go. Anthony, you don't need to do the whole warm-up lap. Nope, we have times flooding in. Anthony PM Jones taking the first one. Chenoweth, Gardner sets in a 5:09. Don't think you really get under 5 minutes without much outside assistance, as Tim Hendrickson does it by 2 seconds, in fact. maybe I shouldn't speak too soon. Gonna try and catch some more drivers. Here's Marcello Kessler. I can speak the German characters at the very least too. Looks like it's going to have a bit of netcode coming in and out. Another Jordan on the field. I'd love to see it. Journey Zorek doesn't look like he's going to be able to set a time. May have had a issue on his own. Matt Yeomans also hasn't set. Neither has Danielle Medley. They're all just coming through to finish their laps now. Thankfully, it's not going to be too much of a cooldown time as I just try to make sure everything is dialed in and things don't break on me, which they will very, very often. Hey, early morning Skip Barber. It is what it is. Early morning for me. The Aussies love it their way, though, so can I really fault them? Most drivers almost done about now. Neil Gardner's still trying to set some more times. It is the half-white Red Bull. I was wondering what livery this was last week, and I've worked it out now. It's a half-white Red Bull. Half Buzz and Hornets Jordan. Oh, no! It's of course, it's the Marlboro McLaren with a Red Bull on the side. Neil Gardner's just out here showing us that he can put on every F1 livery he'd like, actually. Any remaining driver around here is not going to get their lap done in time as we approach the end of this qualifying session. You're only going to get the time for one, so let's see if I can get the full grid up right about now. On pole, Tim Hendrickson, the only driver to clock one in less than 5 minutes. Neil Gardner down behind in P2. Ryan Chenoweth in 3 with Oriel Surratt in P4. Must have missed him on the initial run through. Anthony PM Jones in 5 with Tero Hietanen in 6th. Brett Simmons in 7th with Peter Sopanki in 8th. Joachim Osbeck in 9th with Peter Hedgeko. Yeah, that's Hedgeko in 10th. Lachlan Hope in 11th with Daniel Medley in 12th. And there will be more drivers on the field, but not everyone got their laps done in time. So that's what we'll be looking at to start. As the gridding gets going, I'm pressing all the buttons around. But one of the frustrations, I'm just going to get this off my chest right now, one of the realities of doing an SOF race is that you sort of have to scramble to make sure your settings are right as soon as you hit the grid. You know, like, you don't really get like a long practice session. You're often loading in by the time like the session's ready. You get 3 minutes to basically just click through everything and just pray to all heavens that it's right. I think it's all good though. Tim Hendrickson loaded in on the right-hand side. We don't have Neil Gardner yet. That's who we're waiting for to fill in this grid. Neil Gardner might not even hit the grid in time, quite frankly. I'm curious where he has gone. So I can hear cars revving, and we might be going green soon. Is he going to try and last the first challenge on the drafty Le Mans? Or has he just missed his cue? Neil Gardner has hit the grid, so we are now ready to get going. Standing start from the Mans. It's not typical on this track, but then neither is doing this at all. Tim Hendrickson will start on the right from our view. Gardner on the left, and we are green, green, green. Everyone getting off the grid nicely. There's lots of space here for them to run plenty wide as we head into the Dunlop chicanes. As Journey Zorek there catches a black flag, likely for a false start. He's going to be sent right to the back. Tim Hendrickson leads the field. It's a 1-2-3 from our grid with Oriel Serrat just behind. Just trying to check everybody's making it through these early chicanes. Well, looks successful for the whole field. But we're going to get 5 runs down this start-finish straight today. And all of them are going to be some of the draftiest racing you've ever seen. Really, this is going to be a challenge as to how far Tim Hendrickson can sort of pull away from the rest of the drivers before we make it onto the Mulsanne straight, but I don't think it's going to help terribly much, as he hasn't pulled a meaningful one here. And now the draft game will begin. I need to work out what camera is going to be best for witnessing some of this madness. Ryan Chenoweth gets the best of it starting into now. I think the chopper cam is going to best represent what's going on. As Oriol Serrat has a big run there on the left-hand side. He's going to have the max top speed as we approach in the first chicane. We're almost 4 wide as debris on the side of the tracks now in iRacing since the debris update. So drivers do have to be careful around here. Tim Hendrickson gets the next run as we head into the first of the chicanes. Big lock up there on the inside there by Tim. He's going to keep it together, but he's completely lost exit speed, and I think more drivers are going to get past him than that. Anthony PM Jones now leading the field. Oriol Serrat's going to try and pull on to the left. There's not enough track over there. I think I would have gone for it, but he's going to stay conservative in the back here as Ryan Chenoweth makes it 3 wide. There's space for 4 or maybe even 5 if they drive it right. It's all to play for between these top 6 drivers. Brett Simmons is the one behind, and then Joachim Osbeck is much further back and not really part of this tussle. I think this is the best camera angle for the Mulsanne straight, actually. This is a truly unusual combo. A little bit of tap from behind there, though. We see Oriol Serrat. He just misses his brake, and he is turned around. I think he just missed his brake marker there, and he has been sent well backwards for it. No other true victims collected, though. Could be some aero damage. I'll try and see if I can catch a replay of that. It's a meatball flag for Oriol Serrat, actually. That is him being sent wildly. See his front wind's been devastating along the way as we head down the last section of the straight. And quite a few more drivers have piled in here. Peter Hedgecoe is the last of this pack that will all run through. Hope to get some time for that replay later. We will see whether that one's possible. As we get the top run, as we now sort of leave our Mulsanne straight and we enter our next portion of the track as we approach Indianapolis up ahead. You can tell I just learned 1 corner names just before this race. Anthony PM Jones pulling into the P1 position side by side now with Tim. Ryan, not quite due to send it 3 wide yet. This is the next longest straight you're going to get on the track. And until we enter the Dunlop section, someone can call me out if I get these corners horribly wrong. I'm going to learn this track eventually. I mean, the 24 hours, cool, ask for nobody, but there's often a lot of odd sprint racing around here as well that isn't quite my flavour. This track was chosen by Adam Miles, who's done a fantastic job with the schedule across the Skip Barber season. He's done just a really, really good job of ensuring that there's a lot of participation. This was an attempt to replicate the joy of last year when the highest series participation in history happened over the Christmas week. Typically an unpopular iRacing week, but he thought, put it there for that week. The Monza combined with no chicanes, and it was a hit. This is an attempt to recapture some of that magic of the draft trains and see what happens. Hasn't quite worked out, but I don't think, for participation this week, but not all experiments do, and I do enjoy a little bit of playing around with some fun tracks on the schedule, especially in some of the draftiest cars in iRacing. Tim Hendrickson going to lead coming out of P1. Fastest, definitely the fastest by far in his back portion of the track. As down further behind, that looks like Brett Simmons is losing it more. Almost took himself and another driver out, and in fact, Tero Hietanen was thought he was going to make a move for it. He's backed off and checked up. Just a few chicanes now, the trickiest on the track to get through, and we're going to be doing this 4 more times, so get used to it. Tim Hendrickson looking for another win here for what looks like the Dutch club. On the side behind, that's Joachim Osbeck just completely, I might have done that under his own power. I'm actually going to have to try and catch a replay of that one and work out what just happened. Don't say the tech doesn't exist. Ooh, something happened there. It was the bumps, just the bumps on that portion of the track. Better watch out for those sausage curbs. They will catch you. Actually tagged a little bit on the way out as well. Is Tim Hendrickson now starting the second lap as we approach the crazy draft again. I mean, while we're here, let's see if I can just catch what happened to Osbeck. Is this it? That was something else, I think. No, a few other drivers, because Jason Wilson got a meatball from that. I'm trying to catch the incident that happened on lap 1. I'll catch it in a little bit, because we're back on the Mulsanne straight. Tim Hendrickson leads this field. I think we'll go back into the chopper cam to get the best view of this run to heaven. Anthony PM Jones is the next driver in range to make an attack here, and he will make his move. Claims the right-hand side for now. Looks like Ryan Chenoweth isn't quite in range on this first section of the Mulsanne straight here to properly give a real draft. There's plenty of battles happening behind. Here's Peter Sapanki sending it free wide down the middle with sparks come off the back of somebody's cast up ahead. Neil Gardner. It looks like they're locking into some of these chicanes. They are scary, scary business. That's a nice camera angle. That really captures the joy of what we're experiencing today at Le Mans. As we go side by side again, Ryan Chenoweth's in a much closer range to play a tap. He's going to need to be given the space here by Anthony PM Jones if that's going to happen at all. Been boxed in very, very strongly here. Side by side down behind is Gardner and Simmons. See lots of smoke coming off the rear of some of these vehicles. Marcelo Kessler and Lachlan Hope also having a super, super tight one as they go free wide on this. Well, I'm calling it a back straight, I think, is an insult to the back straights on a whole. I mean, it's a bit of an unfair comparison, really. There has never been more of a back straight in iRacing. Did I forget something? I think I might have forgotten something. Here's some data for all of you. I did not betray all of you along the way. OBS just has to reset that scene every single time you go into it. It's like a curse. A curse from up above. I'll work out these things eventually. Tim Hendrickson leads the field with Anthony PM Jones and Ryan Chenoweth. And then the gap is much bigger down behind. Final long straight of the course. Ryan could use this to his advantage here as he gets alongside, but he's not going for the big draft. In fact, it's Anthony who's going to now choose to make the move. Under that little Rolex bridge, I don't think he quite has huge momentum, but this is a tight right-hander on the way. So we may just have the advantage. This has been exactly the sort of draft rain I expected it to be, but that portion of the track currently has been Tim's strong advantage as these cars slip and slide loose all over the track. Tim Hendrickson has the best of it, and I think he's going to have the best of this entire back portion as gravel has been sprayed everywhere by drivers earlier on in this race. Having more free wide back here, I think we're just seeing, it almost looks like a popcorn factory of how much has been sprayed around here. I'm trying to catch. Now might be the right time to quit, actually. Oriel Serrat, this will be the camera angle to finally determine it all, as he, I think, just cooks it up a little bit too much. I'm just trying to catch this lap 1 again, because this was quite a big battle at the front of our field. It's just a misjudging, and he has not hit the brakes correctly. Thankfully, no true other victims today. That could have been a bowling alley incident, likes of which you don't see often around here. As we head back with only 3 more runs to go. Beatrice has been calling this Les Miserables as a track, and maybe she's right. I've not had too much to say apart from who's going to get the draft this time. But we get 3 more attempts at it. And honestly, the drafting will continue until morale improves. 3 to go around the circuit. And we have seen a pattern very much start to develop as this field strings out. Esterne Zorek with another black flag. I'm not going to be able to work out what that's for right now, but could have been pit related. That's usually one of the only ways to get a black flag like this, unless somehow he's managed a 17x this early into the Skip Barber series. Hendrickson, Jones, and Chenoweth as ever further behind. Let's take a little more look at some further stuff going on down the line, though. Gardner's got the advantage over Simmons, whereas Hedgecoe lead out from Peter Sopanki. Some of these really, a lot of these tight packs have already shrunken up themselves. Looking at it, really, we only have this top 3 battle, and then Brett Simmons on Gardner is sort of the next draft train battle down the Mulsanne. Everybody else is strung out just a bit too much for my tastes. And so we're not seeing truly the side-by-side racing, as a massive run here from PM Jones sends him very, very wide as the chicanes come at you hard. And is it fast or is it slow? These cars are on the slow side, but this is pretty fast for a Skip Barber drive, I have to say. Maxing out top speeds on these 5-minute laps. Down at the start finish, Anthony PM Jones is the leader of the pack for now, but this might just change out as Tim Hendrickson is waiting to make these moves when most appropriate. Next chicane comes at you a whole lot quicker. Ryan Chenoweth has never really played competing in these straight battles, but I do a lot of oval racing. I do a lot of oval commentary. Get a lot of drafting, get a lot of these sorts of moves, and let me tell you, on a race like this, it doesn't really matter until the white flag. If you stay with them, then the final lap determines everything in a race about draft trading. You're just trying to stay on your opponents, and then as a group, you often pull out quite a bit faster if you're sort of working together, sticking with each other for the back portions, and then doing it one more time. And then on the white flag lap, it can all come out as the top 3 go 3 wide. Tim, Anthony, and Ryan going to be trading this for quite some time. Further behind, Simmons still trading, and I do think that group there behind with Hedgecoe and Hietenen have caught up a little bit about how much they're willing to work with others rather than just fight them to the death. More battle further back. Here's Lachlan Hope on the back of, just checking the order here, yeah, on the back of Marcelo Kepler. Kessler, it is Kessler. I lived in Germany for 6 months. It's the double S, but the font was very small, so I have to be forgiven on this one occasion. Simmons and Gardner still trading as they move up, and we only have 2 more runs to go. I was, in a way, expecting to see, and maybe I was naive, I was expecting to see a whole pack stay together, but I think the skill differences span themselves quite a bit in this series, so you're left sort of just guessing on what to talk about next. I'll have a lot to say in the final lap of the final sector, but do you ever get this feeling that it's all a little bit futile? That, you know, if you talk about the great advantages that we are seeing Tim Hendrickson pull out, and he is pulling out some spectacular advantages in this final sector as he slips around this car excellently. You ever get the feeling that it might just be undone by a little thing called the Mulsanne Straight? You could see just away the car. You could hear the tyre squeal. You can just see the way the rear is always kicked out on this back portion. A loose car is a fast car in the Skip Barber series, with aero that barely exists, and we're seeing the best of it right now. And that might make all the difference. I think if Hendrickson is even within shouting distance at the end of this final lap, which is 2 away and not quite 1, then he could easily claim this win. He's been doing everything he needs to right now. Further behind, keep an eye on Peter Hedgecoe again as well. As everyone else is playing their own sort of draft battle game, or some of the drivers, as Marcelo Kessler here. I think, it looked like he was sort of quitting out. It looks more like he's got a bit of netcode, and software gets confused by netcode. appreciate drivers all over the field, but most importantly, we appreciate who's actually on the Mulsanne straight at the current time. Might be able to get a good view from that track map. Looks like we are approaching it now with the good old Tim Anthony Ryan train developing out again. Do wonder if it will be the same complexion it's been every lap here so far. This has been the running order, leaving it every time. I don't know whether Ryan's not catching a draft or whether he's playing a deliberate game here. Anthony pulls ahead for now into the first chicane. And he's going to keep the advantage, leaving it. Next chance for Tim is going to be right here. Will Ryan uses an opportunity to take the move? Tim makes the move out wide. And he looks like he would offer space for a braver driver to go 3 wide, but it's not quite going to happen. These cars are going as fast as they humanly can right now, and all I'm seeing is Chenoweth still off the back, further behind. We're not going to lose track of the exciting battles happening elsewhere either, as Gardner and Simmons are still battling it out for that P4 position, and Hedgeco and Hietanen are playing the same game. Down further behind, Kessler is here, battling with Lachlan Hope. We've all got our own partners in crime over here. Everyone's got their own little... Everyone's got their draft buddy that they're buddying up with as we roll around this track. Will next week give me more to talk about? I promise I'm capable of a very exciting cast when the time is right. And these cars will provide exciting races when they're given almost any track in iRacing. I tell you what, this has to have to be fun for the drivers in its own unique way. We're at Alton Park. We're good, man. We're feasting good with Alton Park next week. It will be our first Skippy Sunday of 2025 when they head to the island layout of the Alton Park circuit. A free track and a very much a British classic. True iRacing classic on the oldest tracks on the service as well. I'm seeing among this top 3 the order come out the same way every time, but we are now going to start entering the back after these next few corners. If Anthony sits ahead of Tim in the final sector, it will add an interesting complexion to the battle, because then it's hard to pass in that section without the huge speed differentials. But it is where Tim absolutely pulls away as Ryan almost overcooks it there into Tim in the heavy braking zones near the back end of the course. Some more of the back drivers making their way into that area around now. I unfortunately can't really keep the camera on Kessler for very long because netcode is just going to cause the camera to glitch in and out. It's very scary to be running on a draft track with someone with that much netcode, let me tell you that. You have a fantastic season on the way. You know what? Big part of the reason we got this race scheduled here was because it's the Christmas off week, and this is one of the least populated weeks in all of iRacing. So do consider that when you're looking at your iRacing schedules and wondering why your series has been less popular across the board. People are just coming home from Christmas. 2025 is going to be an exciting season on the way. We're going to be bringing you a lot of content over it, including an announcement very forthcoming for a new special event hosted by Aeon Esports that is going to invoke the old iRacing nostalgia, very much like the Skip Barber cars do. And if that sounds interesting, tune into next week's Super Skippy Sunday, same time, same place, where we will debut the announcement for that. I'm very much looking forward to it as the final lap comes around, and it's Tim Hendrickson behind as Ryan Chenoweth makes his move for the first time. Anthony PM Jones has a good gap now, and he's going to have to try to keep this if he wants any chance of coming out in P1, but that's an unusual slip there by Tim Hendrickson in the slowest sections of the course to really lose out. Could be a tremendous upset for him to lose this race, but we do have some very, very long draft sections. Lap times will be coming down to 4:55s in the draft. They were 5 minutes. Hendrickson set a 4:58 in the qualifying, which was I'd consider that alien lap time at Le Mans, given that everybody else here, drivers 6-7k up, we're setting 5 minutes. And it's the first time Ryan Chenoweth's going to make his move. As predicted, the white flag lap is when he is absolutely sending it all. But Tim Hendrickson is going to force this free wide down the back straight. He's going to have the advantage for now. Ryan Chenoweth, though, hasn't made his move for a while. And that's the first time I've really seen him fight for it. Tim Hendrickson, though, has the lead going out of the first chicane. Only a couple more to go, and then he may just be able to hold this through the back section. Another very fast straight. Big toe braking here for Tim Hendrickson. He is sliding side to side, and Anthony PM Jones is almost setting himself loose and out of the race, trying to catch up. He does not want to lose this place right now. He does not want to give this up. Ryan Chenoweth isn't making the move he needs to, no. He's not getting the draft of either driver. He's just sort of sitting there in the middle, and this might kill his chance of the race win. Tim Hendrickson has the advantage into our second big chicane. I'm feeling like this could explode in drama and tears any second now, but it hasn't quite. And Ryan Chenoweth isn't done, but he just hasn't been sitting in this draft completely effectively at all stages. He's been playing it a little bit scared, in my opinion. Anthony PM Jones wants this win here over an 8k legend of the series, and he's been hung out to dry as he sits now behind Anthony into the all-important final sections of the track. Ryan Chenoweth really doesn't want to send this into the rear, but it looks treacherous and close. A little bit of gravel being dipped there by Anthony PM. A last really long straight on the way. Tim makes his move. He's got it clear. Ryan Chenoweth still just out to dry among this three. It would be a tremendous steal for him to even take this P2, although hanging with this group has been spectacular. I think the gloves are going to come off now for all three. Anthony PM Jones on the outside. He has the lead for a bit. He's going to have the inside going into this, but he's cut off super effectively there by Tim. Hendrickson just gets in his way in time and asserts his dominance here. He wants his win locked in, and this is where on the track he can do it. We are now entering the slowest portions. Let's just sit on board with Ryan Chenoweth. He might be able to provide the best view of what we're looking at here. Chenoweth gets alongside, though. This could be devastating if Chenoweth, if Jones is still able to hold this in place. It could be a legendary steal. I see a little bit. I don't know if there's contact there, though, between Tim and Anthony. Either way, both drivers are okay. It looks like teammates in arms in the same livery. I've only just realised. To the two torpedoed brothers-in-arms drivers. Tim just has a little bit more speed. He slips the car through these curves. It was an incredibly tightly fought attempt to take this win out, but there could be more drama in these big chicanes, but I'm not quite sure if it's due. As I think that's a slowdown serve there by Anthony PM Jones. I'll take a look at that just after the fact, but he wouldn't be going that slow by accident. Going a little bit too wide. It's sent him back, and it's given Ryan Chenoweth the P2 over Tim Hendrickson, who takes home. Was it an easy P1, or was it a stressful P1? I'm not going to be the one to speak for him on that one, but that race was about as drafty as it could have gone. As the cooldown lap dawns, still a few more drivers. Here's Kessler. He's just lost it and spun in the final sector. See if I can catch that one. I got very lucky just catching this one, okay? Oh, that's not a good way to lose two positions at the very end. Could have ended a whole lot worse. And that is exactly how we expected Le Mans to go, I think. Let's just see if I can catch what may have caused Chenoweth that slowdown. Because that must have been a slow... I think there was a slowdown penalty there. Would have been... I'm getting Anthony PM Jones and Chenoweth confused. It will be PM Jones's slowdown penalty. Ryan Chenoweth making the pass here. Go a little bit too wide here. Oh, it's harsh because both drivers went wide. But then we do see Anthony slow down. Is it around the next corners it happens? No, he just pulls off the line and slows though. Unless he got it any earlier, I'm going to assume that is what has happened. I wonder if Lachlan Hope has actually crashed at the end here as well. So he was a part of this train. I think he just might have done this under his own power though. A big, dramatic move into the finals again sends him out. And that will be, as they say, the ball game around Le Mans. It's about what I expected from it, I think, but can't say it's not an interesting race. Interesting is the word I would use indeed. Big draft trains. Not sure it's recaptured some of that Monza love, but I do appreciate any attempt to bring something new to the Skip Barber schedule. And next up, we'll be seeing them at Daytona Speedway. That's all I'm going to say. I'd be in support of Skip Barber at Daytona Speedway, Adam, if you're listening. So think about it. Think about it. Just get the results of this race up now. It was a big grid, but it became a lot of draft trains. 5 laps around the line. Tim Hendrickson takes home the P1. Ryan Chenoweth in P2 with Anthony PM Jones in 3. Neil Gardner takes up 4th with Brett Simmons in 5th. Tero Hietanen. The Finnish names, I probably got that wrong again, but it's not as bad as what I did to Marcin. I'm not even going to say the second name. If you know, you know. Peter Hedgeko sets in 7th with Supanki in 8th. Chris Wayne in 9th with Lachlan Hope in 10th. Marcelo Kessler in 11th with Oriol Serrat in 12th. Matt Yeomans in 13th with Zherne Zorek in 14th, Daniel Medley in 15th, with Jason Wilhelm in 16th, and Joachim Osbeck also not quite finishing the race. Wonder if that noise went through. We'll find out later. Well, we are back next week, and this time it might be a more typical racing track. Will be the island layout of Alton Park. I'm sure it'll be filled to the brims with participation and filled to the brims with some proper side-by-side racing. I've been Howie Burroughs, and from me and from the other people that I swear are involved in this channel, I'll get them in eventually. I wish you all a fantastic new year, though, as we bow out of 2024. It could have been good for you, could have been poor for you, could have been any sorts of things for you, but here's hoping that the next one surpasses anything you had this year in both your racing and in your life itself. Thanks for watching.